Hey everyone, welcome to today's webinar, Understanding Direct Non-Traffic in GA4. I'm thrilled to have you here. My name is Darshak and I'll be your host today. I'm working at Elevar as an implementation analyst. If you have ever seen a direct non dominating your traffic acquisition reports and thought, where is this traffic coming from? Are in the right place. In this webinar, we are going to break down what direct none really means and why it shows up, and more importantly, how you can fix it to get cleaner, more actionable attribution data. Whether you are running paid campaigns, managing SEO, or working across multiple acquisition channels, this topic touches every part of your funnel. And by the end of this webinar, you will walk away with practical strategies to reduce direct non traffic. Sounds good, right? Before we dive in, let me introduce you to Elevar. Elevar is powering accurate tracking for over 8,000 plus D2C and e commerce brands, both on Shopify and non Shopify e commerce platforms. Elevar help brands taking control of their conversion tracking, especially in a world where cookie loss, iOS restrictions, and attribution gaps are killing performance data. With Elevar, you get a powerful customer and e-commerce data layer that feeds accurate signals to your tools, including GA4, Meta, TikTok, Klaviyo, Avin, and over 50 plus other destinations. What sets Elevar apart is its dual approach. It supports client side tracking but also leverages server side conversion tracking, which is far more reliable and crucial for maintaining attribution across channels. And yes, it supports GDPR and CCPA and other consent setup that works on both client side and server side, giving you full confidence in your setup. That's it about Elevar for now. And next slide onwards, let's start decoding the direct none. So, what exactly is direct none in GA4? It's Google Analytics' way of saying, I don't know where this traffic came from. Technically, direct is the source and none is the medium. This leads us to the question, how does GA4 identify source and medium? GA4 determines the source of your traffic using a few key methods, and it all starts the moment someone clicks a link to your site. First, UTM parameters. These are little tags you add to URLs like UTM source, UTM medium, and UTM campaign. When someone clicks a link with these UTMs, GA4 reads them and assigns the correct source, medium, and campaign. As per GA4 documentation, when you add parameters to a URL, you should always use UTM source, UTM medium, and UTM campaign. This is the cleanest, most reliable way to track attribution, and it's fully in your control. Second, the referrer. If there are no UTMs, GA4 falls back on browser's document.referrer. This tells GA4 what site the visitor came from, like facebook.com or a blog post that links to you. It's automatic, but it's not always reliable, especially with redirects or cross domain traffic. Third, product links and click identifiers. On the GA4, we can see the product linking feature where we can link various Google products. When you are running ad campaigns on platforms like Google Ads and auto tagging is enabled, a unique click IDs like the gclead will be available in the URL. If GA4 and Google Ads is linked, GA4 can pick up these unique click IDs and later map this ID back to campaign data, even if UTMs are missing. So, in short, GA4 uses a combination of UTMs, referrer data, and click identifiers. But if none of these are available or get stripped, that's when it falls back to direct none. Now, let's check out the reasons why this traffic appears. To start with the first reason, an obvious one as well, entering the URL directly into browser. Some traffic shows up as direct simply because the user typed your website URL into their browser's address bar. There's no referrer data in this case, so GA4 labels it as direct by default. The next one is bookmarks. Similar to previous scenario, now the second and the obvious reason is accessing site links via bookmarks. Bookmarks bypass referrer information. When a user clicks a saved bookmark, GA4 can't see where they came from, so it logs the visit as direct none. The next one is missing referrer. GA4 relies on document.referrer to detect where a user came from. If a visitor clicks a link inside a PDF or Word doc, and if these links do not carry UTM parameters, GA4 will record direct none as traffic source. Same applies to shortened links made using URL shortening services such as Bitly and tinyurl. If a website visitor accesses these short links from the offline documents, GA4 will record direct none as traffic source. The next one is redirects. Redirects can strip away referrer data too. This happens especially when traffic moves from a secure site to a non-secure one. These days, the default referrer policy of majority browsers is strict origin when cross origin. Let's understand this with the following example. Here on the slide, we can see that from the same source page, three different link clicks leads to three different pages. The first one gets navigated to the same origin but different page, and hence the referrer is carrying the domain plus page path. The second one gets navigated to the different domain. Technically, that is a cross origin. Since this is a cross origin link, but the cross origin link is secured with the HTTPS. Only domain name will be available as a referrer. The third one gets navigated to the same origin, but the link is not secured. Since the link is not secured, referrer details will not be available. The next one is UTM parameters. If the UTM parameters are missing and the referrer is missing too, GA4 will assign that session to direct none. Making mistake while configuring the UTM parameter is inevitable. If the UTM parameters are not configured as expected, GA4 can't decode them, and this might lead to the session assigning to direct none. Once again, I would like to reiterate that as per GA4 documentation, when you add parameters to a URL, you should always use UTM source, UTM medium, and UTM campaign. It is possible to forget assigning UTM parameters across the various channels, be it paid search, paid social, organic social, and email marketing. The next one is product links and auto tagging. With GA4, we have two options to collect traffic source information, either via manual tagging, where we leverage UTM parameters, or via creating an integration between GA4 and ad platforms and using the auto tagging feature available with these ad platforms. Auto tagging provides us with platform specific dimensions. Let's take a look at these dimensions on the next slide. I'm giving you some time to refer to these dimensions. I'm sure you have found these dimensions familiar. Okay, so now the caveat here is that when the products are not linked and UTM parameters are not present on the URL as well, GA4 can't determine the traffic source, resulting in a direct none as a traffic source. The next is privacy focused browsers and browser restrictions. Before we take a look at browsers and their restrictions, I would like to freshen up your memory about how GA4 tracks users. When someone visits the site first time where GA4 has been integrated, GA4 JavaScript tags place cookies on website visitors browser. GA4 JavaScript tag places the cookies that you are seeing on your screen. With the help of these cookies, GA4 identify new and returning users as well as session specific data. I hope this has helped you to understand how GA4 collects session level data and identify returning users. Now let's understand the browser restrictions. With the growing online privacy concerns, browsers are bringing in new measures. Browsers like Brave and Safari deletes the first-party cookies set using document.cookie method right after 7 days. Even worse, Safari deletes the first-party cookies in 24 hours if the URL carries any query parameters or fragments. Now let's understand how does this affect the traffic source on GA4 via an example. Here, on this example, a website visitor visits the site via Facebook ads first time. Since on the URL we can see query parameters, Safari browser will delete first-party cookies set using document.cookie method in 24 hours. Now, after 24 hours, when the same visitor visits the site by typing URL in the address bar, the following three things will happen. Between first visit via Facebook and second visit via typing URL in the address bar, the time is more than 24 hours. Since the time limit has exceeded 24 hours limit, Safari browser has deleted all the first party cookies set using document.cookie method. Since cookies are no longer available, GA4 can't determine this visitor and the session will get registered as direct. On other hand, though the website visitor is a returning user, GA4 will consider this website visitor as new user. Well, definitely that's not all of it. The issues we have covered so far are some of the most common causes of direct non-traffic. And the good news is, most of them can actually be fixed. So instead of just accepting messy attribution in GA4, let's now shift our focus to solutions. What we can do today to reduce direct non-traffic and get cleaner, more reliable data. Out of many, the first recommendation is to leverage UTM parameters. Utilize the GA4 compliant UTM parameters across the channels. This will improve the source medium availability on each site visit, leading to the minimizing the chances of seeing direct none. The next recommendation is to get rid from HTTP links across the site. We saw how strict origin when cross-origin browser policy affects the referrer availability. To minimize the attribution loss, it is recommended to have links with the HTTPS only across the site. The next recommendation is to link available Google products with the GA4. Link the Google Ads account with the GA4 property and enable the auto tagging feature on the related Google product. On top of this, feel free to utilize the GA4 compliant UTM parameters on the Google Ads along with the auto tagging. Linking Google Ads and enabling the auto tagging will allow GA4 to have campaign level data. The next step on fixing attribution and reducing direct non-traffic is something I strongly recommend, and that's server-side tracking. Unlike traditional client-side tracking, which relies on browsers and is often blocked or restricted, server-side tracking gives you control. This is where Elevar comes in. Elevar is a fully managed, done for you server side tracking solution built for e commerce brands. It handles all the technical heavy lifting so your team doesn't have to get lost in GTM setups, debugging GA4 events, or managing pixel deduplication across platforms. Now let's jump in and I will show you exactly how to configure GA4 using Elevar and how simple it can be to get accurate tracking up and running. Perfect. Here we are on Elevar app, and as we can see here that Elevar itself is acting as a middleman. So Elevar fetches all the available data from Shopify source itself and pass it to all the available destination. Right now, we will go ahead and set up GA4 as a destination. To set up GA4 as a destination, click on Add Destination, select GA4, and now we can see here that setting up GA4 is a 7-step process. Let's click on Get Started here. Here, on the first step, we need to add GA4 measurement ID. Let me have it from this GA4 property, paste it, click Save and Continue. Here, for the events, we can do customization as well, but for now, we will go with the use best practices. Click Save and Continue. On the store, we do not have a cookie consent banner, and that's the reason I have not selected consent mode at source level. That is up here. So that's the reason here we have this particular option disabled by default. Now, to identify the transaction, we have these three options. But for now, we will go with the order name. Click Save and Continue. Up here, to identify the products on GA4 as well, we have these three options. However, for now, we will go with the product SKU. In case of any doubt, feel free to refer to this particular video and you will get all the clarity. We have this setup guide as well. So when you click here on this setup guide, you can see the knowledge base article up here, and that will allow you to set this up on your own as well. Click Save and Continue for now. Up here under Filter Transaction, you can include or exclude recurring orders from getting recorded on GA4. The recommended option is to block them. Let's select the Yes Block option up here. Now, the next available option is to filter any other transaction, and the recommendation is to block some of the transaction. Let's select that and hit Save and Continue. Up here on the last step of the setup, download the pre-built web tags and click Mark as completed. Now we have an option to go live, and we have downloaded the web container as well. Let's go live for the server-side tracking from here. So we are now live with the GA4 destination, and we can see the status up here. Well, to have client-side tracking in place, we need to import the pre-built web tag container on Google Tag Manager as well. Let me import the tags and show you around. I have imported the pre-built web tag container to Google Tag Manager, and we can see here all the available GA4 tags on Google Tag Manager. So setting up GA4 with Elevar is this simple. Alright, that brings us to the end of today's webinar. We have unpacked what direct non-traffic really means in GA4, why it shows up, and most importantly, how you can fix it. At the core of all of this is one simple idea. When your attribution is accurate, everything else gets better. You can finally see which campaigns actually drive revenue, not just clicks. Your ad platforms get better signals to optimize. Your team can make decisions based on truth, not guesses. And your reporting becomes something you can trust and act on. Whether you are running ads, optimizing email flows, or reporting performance to your clients, clean attribution gives you clarity, confidence, and control. If you are ready to move past the guesswork and take ownership of your tracking, we highly recommend exploring how Elevar can help. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. I hope this webinar gave you some clarity, some ideas, and most of all, a clear path forward. Until next time, keep optimizing and take care.